What's going on, gamers? How are we doing? So, I wanted to do a very quick fire video here for PGL Cluj Napoca, as it's an event that doesn't feature maybe the top teams in the world, some of the tier 1.5, tier 2 contenders. Thought it'd be pretty cool just to give my thoughts on them, and what better way to do that, of course, is with a little tier list. They're overblown, of course, overused, these tier lists, but I think it's not really one I've done on my channel properly yet, so I may as well drop it in. Very quick thoughts on every single team at PGL Cluj Napoca, making it quickfire so you guys kind of feel like you know kind of what to expect in a way. Let's get into it right now. So, expected exit, very simple. Imperial Valkyries, they've been genuinely solid and looked okay against some of the top teams, of course, at the previous events they've attended, like Bounty and Kato. They took Furia to overtime with Bubble, of all players. So I think, there's without a doubt, I think they have an opportunity with Tori. They could get a map against a Saw or a Complexity. There's genuine opportunity there for me, but they are in the expected exit bracket. Complexity and Saw fit in the same bracket as well for me. Complexity just, they're not really that inspiring with their new changes, of course. They look better than maybe I thought, but still. And sadly for me, Saw are probably that team that looks like the expected big drop-off team, obviously since everything they went through last year. Losing Ujerks and Arosdos, weird decisions made there. I think their team's in a pretty bad spot right now, and they were the team that I predicted at the beginning of the year would fall out of contention for the invites for these sort of events. And I think they're on that track, unfortunately. They've dropped quite significantly already. Sneaky spoilers here. Of course, there are 8 teams that will make the playoffs, so I've chosen 7, which I think are pretty good potential, and one of these sneaky spoilers will definitely make it in. Mouse, who bloody knows what's going on right now? Like, Brolin in-game leading, Spink's first event. It's going to be a new era for them, and that's why I can't put them in playoff potential. It has to be a sneaky spoiler. You know, people might argue it's expected exit, but I think right now it's okay to have them as a spoiler. They could pretty much still make playoffs. So for me, I think there's a good opportunity they can still do it. Astralis definitely, I think, do have the opportunity to make playoffs with none of the top teams really in contention, of course. None of those attending. They're in a weird spot right now, Astralis. They kind of look like they can look really solid against sort of teams around their rank, but they can lose to anyone, feels like, from 30th rank up and maybe even down. And also, they can have really bad games where it just looks like none of them are on the same page. I had a chance to cover them in the IEM Dallas EU qualifiers just the other day, and a couple of their Mirage takes against BetBoom, it looked like they were, 5 level 10s pugging with the way they took the A-bomb site. It was really rough around the edges. However, map 2 and 3, Cadian's in-game leading and individual level, genuinely solid. So they can be a spoiler here, and I think there's a good chance they make playoffs. Big, you never know what kind of big is going to turn up on the day. It's as simple as that. Their changes have looked alright, but they're still very unpredictable. Wildcard, again, I think Stan's an incredible in-game leader, but maybe they don't have the pieces necessary to really push for playoffs. That's why they could just be a sneaky spoiler. Upset a few teams in the Swiss stage on their day, but they read as like a 1-3, 2-3 team to me. MIBR, same sort of level, I would say. They're just not there right now. And FlyQuest with Regali. Regali's looked alright, but again, there are just pieces missing that makes me think they should be in playoff potential. I think Mouse and Astralis and probably Big are the 3 that I'd be most comfortable with putting into playoff potential. In playoff potential, we have some of the teams, of course, that have looked really good. You've got VP. They've had an amazing Kato. Is that going to be a fluke? I'm still not convinced by Electronic. There was quite a funny clip that I had on my stream when I was co-streaming Kato. Electronic looks either incredible with his first bullet aim or would just whiff entirely. And I literally said that, and 5 seconds later, Electronic instantly headshot 2 people, whiffed massively, headshot someone, and then whiffed massively again. Like, VP don't fill me with consistent confidence, but the start they've had is very promising, and it's definitely taken, Electronic off fraud watch for now. I'm still not entirely convinced, though, for the future and how they're going to go in all these sort of events. I think they should make playoffs, but they can lose to an Astralis. They can lose to a Mouse still, I think, in my opinion. Pain had a very good start to the year. I maybe a bit of a biased opinion. I think they're, I've always liked them. But Kato was really poor, and they did look rough. They did look pretty rough, and there were some quite questionable mid-round decisions made, I think, from what I saw from them. It's not maybe pressure got to them ever so slightly, but it's still a relatively young team with snow and everything. Davides getting used to it all. He started Kato unbelievably and then completely fell off, I'm afraid. So I think they'll bounce back. And I think they'll make playoffs here. That's what I think is going to be their goal for the calendar year. I said that in one of my preview little pieces for Esports News UK. I think they're going to be an upset team in terms of they can get into playoffs and maybe win a few playoffs, win a few playoff matches in the calendar year. We'll see though. Again, Kato sadly didn't fill me with much confidence. Falcons, again, just a weird feeling with them right now. Nico can look amazing. He can look mid. Sure, the heroic core is still there and looks pretty solid, but I had a chance to cast them in the Dallas qualifiers again against TNL, and sure, TNL, which is a tier 4 team pretty much, I haven't even had good results against tier 3 or tier 2, or even had the chance to play tier 2. Like, sure, Falcons would not have prepped for them in any way, shape or form, but it still looked like some of their T-side plays were so static and just plainly bad. Like, it made TNL look good, and TNL have nothing that have shown that they've proven themselves yet. Side note, we know there's question marks about the likes of like Hester and all those other sussy teams in the qualifier. TNL weren't sussy. I think they were pretty legit in my books, and that was just Falcons starting slowly. But then, later on in the evening, they played BetBoom and won 13-2, 13-2. Sure, BetBoom aren't amazing. What didn't look good there themselves, and that's the difference between like these playoff potential teams and the cup contenders, because like Falcons can just. Anyone sort of in this tier 1.5 level right now can have games where they look like they can contend for tier 1, maybe push deep into playoffs, but also can just lose to anyone at their level and look like they've lost the will to make good T-side calls. So really strange. But anyway, I think they'll make playoffs this time. 3D Max is an interesting one. I know a lot of people didn't agree with the move to drop Jocko. I think actually it's looking really good for them, and I didn't mind it because Jocko was quite a volatile player in terms of just individual level. He was either, middling or would really struggle. And picking up Body is perhaps like going back in time in the French scene. It hasn't won like a tier 1 event since 7 years ago, like a Pro League with G2 or something like that. I can't remember. Might have been a DreamHack Malmo. Something like that a long, long time ago. But he's still got a good, consistent factor to his individual play, which I feel like Jocko doesn't. And the fact that he's now in that position on the team where he can be a second voice behind Maka as well, that's going to help Maka quite a lot, I feel. Body not being an in-game leader but being a second voice has kind of changed their fortunes, and they made it through the IEM's Dallas qualifier really comfortably, so quite happy to see that started super well for them. I think they could be a playoff team this time around. I think that has accentuated and improved their qualities quite well, because they were just a team before that you knew what they were going to get out of them. You're going to get a decent performance, maybe not enough to push against the top teams, maybe the top of tier 1.5 or tier 1, but they were like the gatekeeper of tier 1.5 almost. I feel like tier 2 teams would find it tough to beat 3D Max, and 3D Max would always perform well against tier 1.5. So I think they've got a good chance here. Cup contenders goes without saying. It's the top 3 rated teams in the event. I don't think I really need to even discuss them too much. I think Eternal Fire, a great Katowice, maybe disappointing against the Mongols, but Mongols kind of reminded us what they were about. Sure, they were kind of nowhere against Vitality, but Vitality won the damn event. So I think for me, the Mongols, it's easy for esports fans and even commentators and talent to have like short memories. Of course, Mongols not playing Bounty kind of almost made us forget about them in a way, and forget how good they can be. And Eternal Fire are not at that playoff level yet where they can win a playoff game in a big arena, where they can maybe make a push to a finals. This could be the event where they do that. I think they're a semi-final team, but they could even win the event actually. But I do think Mongols kind of proved their worth in that game, of course, against Eternal Fire in Katowice. FaZe. Now, people might question the FaZe pick here, because Elige doesn't feel like he's integrated that well just yet. And I think in Katowice, Carrigan had a bit of a life tournament in terms of his individual play as well. And that does worry me significantly. But now they've been given a little bit more time to figure things out. I think they'll be okay. And I think they'll be in the playoffs. I'm pretty confident in saying that. And I also feel like they'll have a chance at making the semis, if not the grand final. I definitely think they are a cup contender just because of the name value of them. But I do agree with quite a lot of the other pundits around the scene right now that Alesia's kind of, not fit in perfectly. They're still figuring things out. Kato maybe was a bit of a, they kind of just a bit deceiving, I feel like, FaZe. I'm trying to think of the saying, but I think they were a bit deceiving in terms of how good they were, because I think that was kind of relying on maybe Karrigan's individual level and some of classic magical FaZe that, really pulled them through, and Brokey, turning on the style when it was necessary, right? So they worry me, and it's not a Katowice. It's one of the sort of not middling lands. It's a very important land. It's a big prize pool land, but it's a land without the top, 5 teams. So those are the sort of lands where they struggled at last year. It was the Katos, the Colognes, the majors where they actually, truly turned up and felt like they were up for it. And I'm worried that pattern might continue from last year, even with the change for a Liege. So that's how I feel about it. As I said, pretty quick fire video. I kept it just under 12 minutes. So I wanted just to do, I haven't done a video in a while. So I thought it was a bit, I've been a bit busy with some of my casting work in the last couple of days. And I thought, okay, I've got 10 minutes here. Let's get a video out. And I'm happy I've done so. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to drop a like if you agree or disagree with my points. Feel free to disagree in the comments. And I will see you guys very soon. Keep an eye out for my casts and stuff like that. I'll always tweet about when I go live with what I cover. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.